Most people have no idea they can control their dreams. Not just influence them, actually walk into them awake, look around, and decide what happens next. Ancient cultures didn't just know this was possible. They trained for it. Tonight I'm going to show you exactly how they did it. 3 techniques, all of them thousands of years old, all of them verified by modern neuroscience. You can start the first one tonight before you go to sleep. The first technique is the simplest. Keep a journal next to your bed. The second you wake up, before you move, before you check your phone, before you do anything, write down everything you remember from your dream. Even if it's just a color, even if it's just a feeling, write it down. This sounds almost too simple to matter, but here is what it actually does. Your brain overwrites dream memory within 10 minutes of waking. Writing anchors it before that happens. And over 3 to 4 weeks of doing this consistently, something shifts. Your brain starts paying attention to dreams while you are still inside them. It starts recognizing patterns. That recognition, that moment of awareness while you're still dreaming, is the first step toward going fully lucid. The Egyptians knew this, and they didn't just keep personal dream journals. They built entire temples around the practice. The most documented of these was at Abydos. Priests would guide people through multi-day dream ceremonies in specially prepared chambers. You would fast, perform rituals, sleep on a sacred surface, and the priests would watch over you through the night. These weren't spiritual retreats. They were structured protocols designed to produce a specific state of consciousness, awareness inside the dream. They kept extraordinarily detailed records of what worked. The Chester Beatty Papyrus, dating to around 1275 BC, contains over 200 documented dream entries, patterns the priests had observed across thousands of participants. They weren't guessing. They were running repeatable experiments. The journal you keep next to your bed tonight is the same practice, 5,000 years later. The second technique is called reality testing. 10 times throughout your day, not at night, during the day, you stop what you're doing and ask yourself one question. Am I dreaming right now? And then you actually check. Look at your hands. In dreams, hands tend to look wrong, extra fingers, strange proportions, a blurriness that doesn't quite resolve. Look at a clock or a piece of text. Look away, then look back. In dreams, numbers and words change when you look at them a second time. Try to push your finger through your palm. In dreams, it often goes through. Pick one of these checks and do it habitually, the same way you check your phone. The reason this works is that your dreaming brain replicates your waking habits. If you build the pattern of questioning reality during the day, that pattern eventually carries into your dreams. One night you'll do the check inside a dream, notice something is off, and you'll know. That moment of recognition is a lucid dream. That's the doorway. This practice traces directly back to the ancient Greeks, specifically to a philosophical discipline called episteme, the rigorous examination of what is real versus what only appears to be real. Socrates built his entire method around this question. Plato's allegory of the cave is essentially an argument that most people spend their lives mistaking shadows for reality, without ever stopping to verify what they're actually seeing. The reality check you do 10 times a day is that same question applied to your perceptual experience. Am I seeing clearly? Or am I inside a story my mind is telling me? The Greek healing sanctuaries called Asclepius, temples dedicated to Asclepius, the god of medicine, use structured reality questioning as part of their dream incubation protocols. Patients would spend days in philosophical preparation before sleeping in the sacred chambers, deliberately training their minds to question appearances before they lay down. Thousands of stone tablets found at these sites record cases of healing, physical healing, that followed these dream states. The preparation was considered inseparable from the result. The third technique is the most powerful of the 3. Set an alarm for 5 to 6 hours after you fall asleep. When it goes off, stay awake for 20 to 30 minutes. Read something, think about your intention, let yourself become alert. Then when you go back to sleep, repeat one sentence slowly as you drift off. The next time I am dreaming, I will know that I am dreaming. Say it like you mean it. Visualize yourself inside a dream, becoming aware. Feel what that recognition would feel like. The timing is deliberate. REM cycles get longer as the night progresses. Your most vivid, most extended dreams happen in the early morning hours. You are going back to sleep right at the peak window, and the sentence you repeat is not a mantra, it is a task. You are giving your sleeping brain a specific instruction. Your brain is remarkably good at executing instructions it has been clearly given, even during sleep. Tibetan monks have been doing a version of this for over 1,000 years. They call it dream yoga. It is part of the Dzogchen and Kagyu lineages, serious, structured contemplative traditions that treat dream consciousness not as a side effect of sleep, but as a primary arena of spiritual training. The core principle of dream yoga is that the dreaming state and the waking state are equally real, or equally constructed, and that learning to stay conscious through the transition into sleep is one of the most direct routes to understanding the nature of mind itself. The technique you just learned is a condensed version of what monks spend years mastering. In 1975, a researcher named Hearne at the University of Hull became the first person to scientifically verify that lucid dreaming was real. He had a trained lucid dreamer signal from inside a dream, using pre-agreed eye movements, left, right, which appeared on an EEG as a measurable signal. For the first time, there was laboratory proof that a person could be simultaneously in REM sleep and consciously aware. Dr. LaBerge at Stanford confirmed this independently in the 1980s and went further. He discovered that during lucid dreaming, the prefrontal cortex, the part of your brain responsible for self-awareness, rational thinking, and decision-making, becomes unusually active. During ordinary dreaming, that region goes quiet. During lucid dreaming, it lights up. You can train this response. The more you practice the 3 techniques, the stronger and more reliable that prefrontal activation becomes. The ancients were doing prefrontal cortex training 5,000 years before we had a name for it. Here is where to start tonight. Put a notebook and pen next to your bed before you go to sleep. Tomorrow morning, before you look at your phone, write down whatever you remember. That's it, just that. The other techniques layer on top once the journaling becomes automatic. Give it 30 days. The people who do this consistently report the same thing. Dreams get more vivid, more detailed, easier to remember. And then one morning, usually when they least expect it, they write in their journal about the moment they woke up inside a dream and knew exactly where they were. Subscribe to KaliRose for ancient wisdom and consciousness science every week. If this is something you've been curious about, share it with someone who needs to see it. Drop a comment with where you're starting, the journal, the reality checks, or the alarm method. I read every one. Next week we're going into the pineal gland, the structure sitting dead center in your brain that every ancient civilization on Earth called the seat of the soul, and what modern neuroscience has actually found inside it. That one is going to change how you think about your own mind.